Hello and welcome to another episode of the Dumb and Dumbest audio experience. We really should be recording this in advance, but we're not. So I'm your host, Matt Bacon, with my beautiful, radiant, glowing, tall, well-muscled, balding, wrinkly, decrepit, oily, masculine, girthy co-host, Curtis Dewar.
I like that radio host voice you got going right now, Matt. That's pretty awesome.
I've been working on it, Curtis.
Well, hello. This is the Dumb and Dumbest podcast featuring me, Matt Bacon, and my co-host.
Curtis Dewar. What are we talking about today?
We're talking about ideas, how to get ideas for content for your social media or whatever it is that you're trying to do.
Yeah, and this is a tricky one that I think a lot of people struggle with. So
Because they put too much thought into it.
Yeah, but there's some very simple kind of things you can do.
Yeah.
That I personally follow, but I'm curious for your thoughts because I know you did a video on it this morning that I haven't had time to watch yet because I'm at my grandparents'. I'm actually sitting poolside right now. Oh. I can see palm trees. And
you got the Ty Lopez fake mansion there too, yeah. Just kidding.
We've been getting more views, baby. I don't give a shit.
So here's one thing that I suggested. This was more for Twitter, but it can go for anything. Is one thing you can do is you can find out what's trending on Twitter and kind of do something based on that. So for example, this morning, The Walking Dead, Doctor Who, and Legalization Day in Canada were all the top trending things on Twitter. So I'm just, with that right there, you could probably come up with like 200 things for like the next year just by those three items right there. You know, even if you're not a fan of any of those things.
Yeah.
You know, and if you don't know anything about any of those topics right there, the next thing you can do is you can look through headlines on sites that you follow, or, you know, you can even look at the newspaper if you still read a newspaper, and you can look at what's the topic in entertainment, and you could just do a video or a post about any of those things. It's really, really simple. As long as you don't complicate it, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So I actually have a model that I use to help to guide Vance through. This has been pretty effective for me in the past.
Yeah.
And what I'll recommend Vance do if you have a hard time coming up with content, okay, is every week, here's 6 content ideas that you can do every week.
Okay. What are they?
Post a song from your band from YouTube, or better, directly uploaded to Facebook with a video attached, either your music video from Rotor. Shout out to a classic band.
Yeah.
Shout out to a band in your scene, in both cases posting a link with a video.
When you're doing the shout out to the other band, you're going to post your own link video, is what you're saying?
No, so if I shout out Salem's Bend, I'm going to post a video of Salem's Bend live.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, so yeah, I'm going to post Salem's Bend live, whatever, right? So I'm going to do those. Or if I want to shout out to like an old band like Boxer or something.
Yeah.
You know, same deal. Like I'm going to, you know, I'm just going to run it. So you've got that, right?
Yeah.
And then you're going to post a meme every week.
Okay.
You're going to post an audience engagement post type thing every week. And that's just as simple as like, what's your favorite Kiss song? You know?
Whoa.
What?
I said, whoa.
Yeah. And then the final thing I recommend is to I'm trying to run through everything I recommended thus far. Yeah. So the final thing is just to share one relevant piece of news.
Mm-hmm.
Or a live shot. And like that's like 6 or 7 things right there. Live shots are especially good. But that's like 6 or 7 things right there that you have that like you can just use easily.
But hold up, Matt. What would be an example of news? Are you talking about news from the band, or are you talking about news in general?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. That's a good answer. Yes. Good. I like that answer. Yes.
Like, I think that, I think it can be cool to, like, here's a cool piece of news about our scene. Maybe you're a stoner band and the Obelisk wrote a cool write-up of something.
Yeah.
Or it can, like, of a festival or something.
Yeah.
Or it can be a piece of band news.
Okay.
Usually you should be able to have some piece of band news or be able to manufacture some piece of band news on a given day.
Yeah.
I don't fucking know what it might be, but you can usually be like, oh, progress on the new record, going real nice.
Yeah. Or we just had band practice, went real nice. That actually worked.
What?
I said that could actually work, even if you just said something stupid like making progress at band practice.
These are the things that matter, man.
Yeah. And anything that, I mean, basically, if you get stuck, just look at what other people are posting or talking about, rather, not necessarily posting, but what they're talking about, and then talk about that.
Exactly.
One other thing that always works is if you post a picture of you and your cat, you and your pet, or you and your kid. Always works.
I kind of think in a lot of cases, posting with your kids sometimes backfires. You got to be careful with how much you do it.
That is true. That is true.
I think there's value to posting with your kid, but I also think there's a difference between you posting about with your kid and, like, a serious metal guy posting with his kid.
Depends.
Again, depending on the scenario and other factors.
Of course. Yeah. I mean, if you're obviously, depending upon your image, you might want to be careful with that, but yeah.
Yeah.
It depends.
Yeah. So just keep that in mind going forward.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. But broadly speaking, Kurt Evo Birdie is correct.
Yeah. I'm always correct on those type of things because Matt steals all of his ideas from me.
That's distinctly untrue, but
all of them, but the vast majority.
Again, I really don't see why you would feel that way, but I also understand that Curtis is a very insecure individual.
Totally.
So you have to support him.
Yeah, that's totally right. But anyway, we should probably give a couple more ideas on these.
Yes. Okay, so Curtis, keep feeding me ideas, baby. What else are you doing?
For posting ideas we're talking about for social media? Okay, well, another thing that you can do is that you can also look over some past posts that you've done to get some ideas, and you could always look like for something that you did in the past year that got a good result, and you could do something similar to that. I'm not necessarily saying copy it, but also another thing is you can just like do something similar. So if 2 years ago you look back on your Facebook feed and you realize 2 years ago you had a lot of good reactions when you went over, I don't know, some song lyric, do another song, right? Or you shared something
Song
about...
lyrics are great, by the way.
Say that again?
Song lyrics are great, by the way.
Yeah. Well, if you give an explanation of it, for sure. If you're just posting the song lyric, no, that's kind of dumb.
I know bands who post the lyrics and just like with like a cool piece of like sad boy doom bands and stuff.
Yeah.
Who post lyrics with like a cool piece of art.
Yeah.
And that seems to work pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, it depends. Like if you're just posting the lyric with no art or a picture, that's kind of stupid. But if you post it with the art or picture, that makes it look good. I agree with you on that point right there, 100%. Another thing too is that if you post different band pictures, obviously is a good one. And if you ever run out of content for pictures, you can just take more at your band practice, or you could take, if you're a black metal band, doing nature pictures seems to make sense. Twilight Fauna used to do that quite a bit.
Yeah, nature pictures, that band Noor on Prophecy does that all the time.
There you go.
I actually think that's kind of cool because they are that is a pretty artsy project, and it does kind of speak to the themes he's about, you know, and he does it tastefully. Like it's like, that's the other thing is like, go on before you do any of this, go online and look at like just a couple articles that are like tips for good photography.
Yeah.
Like, and it's not hard, but like it's also, you know, just do some basic learning.
But also reversely, if you can't take a great picture, I mean, do as best as you can using your iPhone. I mean, you don't want to go you don't want to use that as an excuse at the same time. Just saying.
Yeah,
But do
absolutely.
your best. Do your best, but don't get sucked into too many details and go, well, I can't post anything because I don't have a perfect picture. That's just dumb.
Yeah.
You're
So
better doing the post, even if it looks kind of doesn't look perfect, than not doing a post at all.
exactly. And that's sort of the other thing to be aware of, is that you need to be running posts.
Yeah, and you need to be doing them frequently.
Yeah. Like I get that the fact that you only posted once got you more views, but it's like, okay, so you got 75 hits on that versus 100. You know, you can get 75 hits on posting once a week, or you can get 100 hits if you post every day.
Well, it's not just that, but with the algorithm nowadays and so many people online, you're not going to get many views. Period. If you're just doing once a week, no one's going to be able to see you, right? So you got to do more than once a day or once a week. That's just stupid.
And again, like if I'm a promoter, I'm going to if I'm a promoter, I'm going to look like, is this band for real? Like, is this band doing shit, or are they not, right? Because like I want to make sure if I'm going to put a band on a show that they've got like social media game.
Yeah. Now I have a question for you, Matt. I want to hear your thoughts on this, and I'll tell mine after this. How do you feel about bands posting on a number of social media platforms? Do you think that they should just pick one, or do you think that they should be posting on everything that they can?
I think that Facebook and Instagram are essential. I think that Twitter has extreme leverage.
Yeah.
But I think it also requires a different level of dedication, I want to say.
Mm-hmm.
And that's you know, that makes it trickier.
Okay. Because I think people should be posting on everything personally.
I think people should be posting on everything too, but I also think that like at the end of the day, Twitter is much harder to understand for a lot of people, and I understand why. Twitter is a tricky platform.
Yep. Well, what about the other platforms? Like there's also YouTube, which is technically a social media platform, and there's Tumblr, and there's Vero, and there's Google Plus, and there's all the rest of them, right?
Yeah. No, of course. I mean, I just don't, you know, like my whole thing is like, I just don't want people to feel overwhelmed.
Yeah, I don't know. I can understand that. But still, my own viewpoint is that if there's 4 people in a band, I think they could split it up between the 4 of them. That's my own opinion, but
yeah,
granted,
sometimes easier said than done.
Yeah, that's the thing, is it's easier said than done. I mean, the main point of all this is that you got to be willing to put in the work, and you got to be willing to be dedicated to actually doing this properly.
Yeah, if you're not, then it's already over.
Yeah, I mean, not to get all Gary V on anybody, but I mean, that's really the thing, is you have to be willing to put in, you know, an hour to 2 hours per day, every day on social media.
Well, like, I think that if people realized, like, in the macro, how lucky they are to just have this fucking, like, the fact that, like, some dumb fucks like us are willing to actually, like, try to take the time to teach you how to be less of a fucking douchebag on the internet, like, and the fact that you're actually listening, like, that puts you so far ahead of like so many bands, right?
Yeah.
And I think it's important not to forget that like, you know, so if you're taking the initiative to listen to what we have to say, because, you know, there was someone the other day, I made a bacon bit about the power of the Instagram DM, and they were like, wow, that was really like, that really like got me in touch with this venue I wasn't able to get in touch with. But it's
Yeah,
like,
I saw that.
I say these things because I believe in them.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I'm not just like saying it because I think it's fun. Like, I literally do this because I am so fucking tired of having to answer the same 4 questions.
Yep, I agree with you on that. So what else we got to talk about on this subject? Have we beaten it to death yet, or we got more to leverage out of it, Matt?
I think we've basically hit our key points. It's just post every day, even sort of filler content is fine if it's good filler content. If you've come up with, sort of a strategy that facilitates that, and coming up with a strategy that facilitates that is surprisingly easy.
It is. And I mean, you don't have to plan out everything in advance. I mean, like, get a general idea. Like, I mean, I don't plan all my stuff out every week. I don't. I mean, maybe I should, but I don't.
Neither do I.
Yeah, but I mean, a lot of it's spontaneous, but you do have to have a general idea of what your goals are with the platform that you're using. So, I mean, don't just wing it all the time, obviously, but, have some sort of an idea, but you don't have to be too careful on, too detailed on planning, I mean, right?
Yeah, because I mean, at the end of the day, people are going to forget, like, if you fuck up or something, like, it'll be okay.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people really overanalyze because they see these horror stories.
Yeah.
About, like, the woman who has a comedy Twitter account who posted something and now, she's fucking ostracized for life or whatever.
Oh, like, yeah, the one that went to South Africa. Yeah, I know that. Yeah.
Yeah, and like
she's now no longer ostracized. It turned to a tale of goodness.
Okay. Well, whatever. I didn't know that. I'm sure most people who cite that as a concern aren't familiar with that.
But like, part of the thing there is she also told a racy joke, which kind of got her in trouble. So don't tell racy jokes.
Yeah.
It wasn't a racy joke, but I think it was an offensive joke. I can't remember, but anyways.
It was not playing to her strengths.
Yeah.
Let's just leave it at that.
But anyway, and most people aren't going to attack you for what you see on social media. And even if they do, the best thing to do is you either own up to it and you attack back, or you just ignore it. One of the two works. Don't go all into apologetic mode, because that's just going to get the mob after you.
Yeah, and that's the last thing you need.
Yeah. So if you do make a mistake on your social media posts and you are starting to get ostracized, just either own up to it, or just ignore it. One of the two.
Yeah, and eventually,
it'll blow over.
Yeah. So just head down to the Winchester. Anyway, you got that joke, right?
I think I did, unless I'm thinking of something else.
Okay. Anyway, you probably are, because you're old and gross and desperate.
Maybe. All right.
So, point being, what do you have to plug?
Well, one really cool thing that happened today is Death on Fire made Kerrang's American Metal playlist, I think is the name of it. Anyways, they made Kerrang's playlist on Spotify. That's freaking cool. So big props to Tim for that. And then I think it's tomorrow. I don't have my calendar in front of me, but if I'm not mistaken, it's tomorrow. Witching is doing, which would be today that I always forget what day it is that we're uploading. Cult Nation will be streaming Witching's new video today or tomorrow, depending upon when this is uploaded, or yesterday, depending on when this is uploaded. Anyways, it's going to be really cool. Watch the video. You will love it. And they're going to be the next big thing, I can tell you. Anyways, that's what I got.
Awesome. Cool. Well, I'm in Florida, so I'm chilling. I don't have too much to plug. Just, keep on rocking. Come to Prophecy Fest, which is coming up. If you live in New York, also come to that Coven show. That's going to be a cool show. I'm not involved with them. I just think that'll be cool. So you should just come, because if you like good music, I just think it would be cool. I don't know.
I agree.
Oh, and Curtis and I have a webinar coming up, and I wrote it. All me. So Curtis is going to try to claim credit, but it was all me.
You wanted to write it. You didn't even let me.
Okay, well. Okay, whatever. This is Curtis doing some revisionist history, which is classic Curtis. So, but if you want the real McCoy, a prime marketing experience thing with Curtis and Matt and Curtis, the deadly duo.
Deadly duo.
I'd describe us as a deadly duo.
Better than a few other things you could describe us as, sure.
Okay, whatever. We have a podcast coming up.
Podcast, webinar.
Or webinar, yes. Regardless of Curtis, we do also technically have a podcast coming up. I would like to point that out.
We do. You're right.
I mean, we always have a podcast coming up, but still.
Yeah, exactly.
So please come out to those shows. Be a bro.
Go to the webinar.
Yeah, and yeah,
Just
buy
go.
from the webinar.
Yeah. Are we done yet or what?
Are we done yet? That's the real question. Thank you for listening.